Hey everyone, here we are, final week of the course. I know it's been like drinking from a fire hose, but I guess for all of us, that's kind of the nature of summer courses. Yeah, there's quite a bit coming at you for this final week. Do know, as I mentioned before, I believe last week, that you can take through next week to wrap up the activities for the course. I know some of you are probably really wanting to be done with the course this week, so I think it's doable to complete these activities this week if that's what you would like to do. I totally understand that. So, but if you need to stretch some things out, that is perfectly fine too. So, a big focus for this week. For the activity, I'm looking at the Moodle shell, and maybe you would like to open the Moodle shell and see what's there. But the first thing I'm doing is I'm posting the resources from OPI. I mentioned this last week, and I don't need to rehash it, but these are some critical resources. Obviously, especially if you're going to work in Montana, but they're pretty parallel to any state in which you might work. So. But just tons of forms and resources, forms and guides, all of which are really great resources. OPI does a really nice job of keeping that all up to date. I also mentioned that I was hoping to somehow provide some training on the AIM system, which is an online system that OPI uses to manage student records. And I've tried to get a hold of OPI and have received no response on how to do that. That's something that's important to know about as you go out into the job market. So what I'm going to do, I really need to figure out a better way to get this integrated into an online course. But what I'm going to do is try to set up something with OPI, kind of a seminar where someone can come in and do this in person. I think that's the real barrier of trying to integrate that training into an online format. So I'm going to set something up, and I'll get in touch with all of you through your various programs about getting involved in training on AIM. It's something you'll also learn about clearly during a student teaching or a clinical experience, but I really feel like that's something that we should be providing you more information about. And as I mentioned, I've always done that in my face-to-face course. It's just presented some unique challenges online. So, but what I have provided are these resources. Look at those and see what's there, because it's always going to be something that you can use along the way. And I'm sharing those for your mock IEP. I do want you to complete an IEP form. I know there's going to be some challenges with that, but remember, you're inventing a student basically. You can base this on someone you've worked with, that you're familiar with, but it's just a way to get some practice of working with the IEP document and tying that to the needs of a student. There may be gaps or things that you can't complete depending on where you are in your respective program. Things like transition, if your student is a high school student, that's something you need to include as transition services that's on the IEP. You're gonna have to pull in knowledge excuse me, and resources from the transition course. Okay, so may require some of you who haven't taken that course to do some background. So, but I'm going to be flexible. But please do your best on completing that IEP form along with the script. So it sounds like everyone's doing a script. If you're doing a video, that's great too. So, but have fun with that, and be as creative as you need to be. Okay. So the next thing on Moodle is the second hypothetical, and this is kind of the big topic here is manifestation determination. So this is I would say this is one of the more contentious pieces of special education with administrators, probably, that it's, the big idea here is that a student gets in trouble, and is their behavior that resulted in that trouble related to their disability? Okay, because if that is determined, then there's a whole nother level of protections. So you're going to do some reading on that, and then this hypothetical takes you through a case. So I'm wanting you to dig back into those CFRs, okay? I know that document is huge, and it's not a lot of fun to wade through that. So I've put a note in here. Use the search function within that PDF, and to allow you to really get right to what it is you're looking for when you're completing that hypothetical. It's makes it quite a bit easier, and once again, that is something, if I were you, I would download that onto your computer, those CFRs, and they're easily accessible online too, but just to have them and to become familiar with that search function, because you may be surprised at how often, even very early in your career, how soon you will be the go-to person in a school about some of these issues, and that is kind of the ultimate resource. Okay. So just another activity to get you familiar with manifestation determination, behavior, and the laws associated with that relative to kids with disabilities, and becoming more familiar with the CFRs. And then finally, the last activity for the course, it's kind of a review activity. I have assigned a significant chunk of points to this as part of your activity grade. So basically, you have to complete this, or it's going to reduce your grade significantly. But I hope you've picked up. I really don't try. I try not to do hoop jumping exercises. I really put a lot of thought into my assessments, and this review activity is probably the most rote thing you will ever see me do in a course. But I believe it really serves a purpose. It's basically the biggest ideas of this course, and I'm asking you to complete this form as a review, but also as a takeaway resource for you. So these critical elements of the law and general practice of special education you have right there in a nice, easy to use form. So speaking of that, don't get hung up on my format. I just want you to address those things. I know sometimes I deal with the same stuff. When you try to use someone else's form, you end up spending more time on formatting than you do doing the work. I don't see this activity as taking a lot of time. You can use any resource you want, as long, make sure it's legit, because most, if not all, of these elements can be answered from your readings or some quick internet searches from reliable sources. So it's not meant to be a huge amount of time, but is a good review activity. So that's what's on store for this week. I've put in Moodle whether there's one link for the hypothetical, to post that there. And then your mock IEP in this review activity, I'm asking you that you email those to me. So thanks a lot, folks. As always, please get in touch if you're struggling or you are anxious about wrapping the course up. And also, when you're on campus in the fall, if you are on campus, please stop by and say hello. because it's always nice to actually meet people I've had in class. So thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.